Hello, Emma. I'm Dan Adams of New England Network Solutions. I'm the founder and CEO. We've been around for about 20 years now, and we've helped hundreds of companies in the Boston area. And the vast majority have some form of remote access need for their employees. Some of those employees are virtual, some of them are back and forth, but it's an issue we deal with on a day-to-day basis here and feel like we have some expertise to share with you. Emma, for simple tasks, there's several tools out there, and I'm sure you're familiar with them, from Basecamp to Google Docs, Podio. There are several ways of doing simple collaborative tasks, and this is just a area to store files, put them on, and have multiple people access them with some form of rights and security to try and limit who can see what. What really comes into play, though, and where we see companies get hurt, is not so much in the technology, but around understanding of what a distributed technology structure brings as far as risk, and then also what leadership is required to pull this off. So let me talk real quickly about the security portion of it. When you put something online, it may have a failover site. It's keeping a current copy of your data. So if site A goes down, site B has your data. What doesn't happen, though, is multiple iterations of your data. So let's say you are working on a spreadsheet and you work on it for half the day, you save it, and it's called spreadsheet 1. And a little bit later on, you update spreadsheet 1 in the afternoon, and then you need to get back to the earlier version because you realize you've made a mistake. Or we're collaborating and you work on it and I overwrite the file with something else. You don't have that version control. Your data is critical, and so you give a lot of control up over something that's quite critical to your business. The second part of collaborative solutions, especially the email type things, we're finding more and more business email is the lifeblood of the company. And really it's not quote email, it's correspondence, right? When we're humans, we're working together, correspondence is a critical part of our interaction. And that is the history, that's the dialogue, that's the relationship, the activities. It's all kind of captured there in email. Well, on a local structure that you maintain, you can control backing up multiple times during the day. You can see what's going on. If something goes wrong, you can store a file from a couple weeks ago. A lot of power. If you need to have access to somebody's email account real quick, you can get and do that. A lot of these online hosted solutions do not have this. So if somebody, let's say you've got an employee that you've been paying to make cold calls for you, and they start building this database, and something happens and they get mad, they have the ability to delete all their email transactions, and that's something you've been paying a tremendous amount of money for, and you now have no history of what they've been doing. So you've been paying a salary to somebody and you have no collection of that data. Once again, that data, that information is critical. You give that up, you're giving up a lot. Most small companies don't get it until it's too late. We see very, very often where a salesperson or a financial person that was supposed to be doing stuff, we want to see that history, we need to see what's going on, and if they leave on not great terms, they delete it all, and you have no proof, and it leaves you in a very vulnerable position. And not only just proof, you can actually lose records. They can actually take company information, company records, client records, those type of things with them, and you have no ability to prove it. You're on your own. The second part to talk about is leadership, and there's three kind of key areas that we see get hurt quite often. And real quick, structure. If you do not have the structure in place to hold these employees accountable, to educate them, to help them achieve what they need to do. So we're talking about a great training program, very clear expectations on what needs to be done, meeting schedules, follow-ups, what you're measuring, when you're measuring it, what success is not, all these different things that often a small business doesn't really have. You're kind of asking somebody, hey, can you help me out? I need you to do this type of thing. But really that documented, tight, regimented stuff is not there. It's really hard to manage a person in general, but it becomes even harder when they're not close to you. And if you do not have that structure in place, you can waste a lot of resources, and you can unfortunately hurt a lot of great potential employees that are remote by not giving them the structure they need to succeed. Second area, trust. Trust enables growth. Trust enables you to challenge somebody or be challenged by somebody and not take offense, but know that we're really trying to build something bigger between us. A lot of that has to be built from that interaction, and that can be done a lot quicker face-to-face, or at least in some interaction face-to-face and person-to-person. If you do not have that trust, you'll never challenge. Emma, I could have an idea that I think is great, but you have more experience. You challenge me on it because you know I trust that we're trying to work on this and we make something better. Without trust, that progress is greatly limited. And the last thing I'll talk about is culture. Zappos would not have been created by a few people dialing in and doing tasks. There's a culture element here. That culture of what we're trying to achieve, how we're trying to achieve, what we do, seeing each other go through things, learning, helping, is so critical. And those breakthrough businesses tend to have this cultural factor, this organizational health. Remote connectivity or remote usage does not lend to that. And I know it's really easy to throw things up and really easy to, quote, collaborate. But that's really file sharing is what we're talking about. Unless your leadership can build the structure, set the expectations, develop the trust relationships, and also overcome the culture barriers. I wish you luck with this, Emma. Thanks so much for your time.